From the very beginning of our entrepreneurial career, we have always been a team. In fact, we have another woman that makes up our trio, but speaking in front of people isn't her strong suit, so she decided we should take this one.
She's in the audience somewhere.
Yeah.
Hi, Lizzie. The three of us have been a team that has evolved over the past 6 years of friendship, 3 of those years on an intense journey that has brought us here today. We like to think that the way we met was fate. We met in our very first architectural drafting class at university. Madeline had come from a gap year in India, Lizzie had transferred schools, and I was switching majors. We had no connections to each other, but somehow gravitated towards one another. Looking back, we were uniquely different women with a shared spirit to be out of the ordinary and an inherent drive to do something big. Separately, we were 3 strong individuals, but together, we were one hell of a powerful unit. Henry Ford says, "Coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is progress. Working together is success." We can finally say we've reached stage 3 and would like to impart some of what we've learned along the way.
Being 3 women navigating the tech startup world has been an adventure that never ceases to amaze and surprise us almost on a daily basis. We have grown individually as women, but more importantly, we have grown as a team. We have been a team in all sense of the word. We were a team navigating through university and design school. We were a team facing a parent's divorce, cancer, death, and an incurable diagnosis. And we were a team deciding to start our first business our junior year of college. Some friends come together when spirits are high and there is something to celebrate. Others come together in grief and in support. We came together to face it all.
A quote from Winston Churchill that perfectly describes us and how we now define success. Success is stumbling from failure to failure with no loss of enthusiasm. Through our time together, we've learned that failure is a huge and inevitable part of life. What sets you apart from your failure is your ability to accept the failure and have an enthusiasm and willingness to keep going. Life is 10% the things that happen to you, 90% how you react to those things. We've developed a mantra in our friendship that we've integrated into our company today. Fail fast, fix fast, and learn fast.
A lot of people ask us how we can be such close friends and run a business together.
Two of us live together also.
Yes, there's a lot of, we're together all the time. So, if we boil it down, it actually comes down to the stamina that we've been able to maintain through every last hiccup. One of our first failures in business was when we decided to enter a business plan competition our junior year of college. We had decided we were going to start a virtual interior design company. We didn't know exactly what it meant. All we knew was that we were going to start charging for a service that we were already providing our friends and family. Designing their spaces through photographs and online shopping, something we definitely knew how to do. Around that time, our university was hosting a school-wide business plan competition with a $60,000 prize to start your first business. The power of 3 made us courageous enough to say, let's apply. So we had 2 weeks to write an executive summary. Small problem. What's an executive summary? We attended a lecture for all of the applicants to get to know one another and to learn how to write this so-called executive summary and business plan. And as we sat there in the lecture, it was filled with mostly business and grad students, and of course, mostly men. And we were really actually the first people from our design school to apply. So as we sat there listening, we felt very blonde, very out of place, and very intimidated.
Something special about our trio is that when one of us stumbles, when one of us doesn't have the courage, the other 2 are there to pick us up. Luckily, we have a knack for each stumbling at different times, so there's always been someone there with the silver lining. And this case was no different. One of us, we won't name names, did not want to go through with it, and the other 2 whipped her into shape.
So needless to say, we spent countless grueling hours poring over exactly what it meant to start a business. And we came out with our heads held high with the executive summary of the century. We submitted the proposal the next day, and we got a response. Rejected!
Our first big step, starting our business, and it was a big, fat fail. We didn't know what we were doing, and apparently the idea wasn't even good enough to be given the chance to put a business plan together. This could have ended our journey right there. We could have said, we're proud of ourselves, we tried, it is what it is. Luckily, we had the naive ignorance and ego that 20-year-olds have and decided to take what we had learned in our one-page executive summary and put words into action. We had someone in our class put together a very basic website and printed business cards, and we were ready for action. What followed was 2 years of constant, and we mean constant, ups and downs, failures and small wins in both our personal lives and in our business. Through it all, we had our one constant. We were a team that accepted failure. We were a team that found humor in our little and big dejected moments. And we were a team with a prevailing commitment to learn and to just keep going. Arianna Huffington says that failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is a stepping stone to success. It's with that mentality that we entered our next business competition, Shark Tank.
We were coming out of 2 years of hustle. We were the designers, the executives, and, wait for it, the handymen installing our own designs. I am so happy to say that we have mastered the art of the drill.
We have.
Everyone, it's true. We had grown, and there was real money flowing into the business, but it wasn't sustainable. Something big had to happen. Shark Tank was big. 8 million viewers, money, a mentor, that's what we needed, so we went for it. Cold emailed casting, and we were accepted into the application process. Woohoo! What ensued was 6 months of video applications and a self-taught MBA. We read textbooks, watched tutorials, and even learned the basics of accounting. All of this was going to be worth it because once we were on the show, it could only go up from there. Well, based on what we're up here presenting, as you can guess, Shark Tank wasn't all we had hoped it would be. Although we made a deal on air, the terms were not favorable, and it was not something we could go through with. The episode brought traffic, but nothing meaningful to turn things around for the future scale and growth of the business.
This particular failure brought about a poignant moment in our journey that brought us to our company today. It was 2 months after the episode had aired, and we were still dealing with the influx of traffic. People liked the idea, that was for sure, but the economics, not so much. It was 2 a.m., we hadn't slept, we were swamped, and then we had just gotten an email that the episode was re-airing in a week. Defeated is exactly how to define how we felt in that moment. This kind of exposure should be a positive, not what was inevitably going to sink us. Something big had to happen, we had to make a change.
So in that moment, exhausted and hangry, we all just kind of looked at each other and started hysterically laughing, almost in a what the fuck? We can't believe how badly shit is hitting the fan kind of way. And somehow in our hysteria, we sunk down out of our desk chairs and onto the floor, where we lay there side by side taking it all in. And as we started to calm down from our laughter, we started to cry. It was a feeling of utter bleakness, a moment when we stopped and didn't fully know how we would move forward. What if this was a failure that would break the camel's back? Where would we go from here? All we knew was that we had come too far and worked too hard to see it all end. So right then and there, we decided to make some substantial changes to fix the situation we were in. What did we learn from this Shark Tank failure, or shall we call it an experience? Number one, we learned that we definitely needed some real investor money. And number two, we learned that we needed some key players to add to the team. First step, move to the West Coast immediately to make 1 and 2 happen. One of us left our husbands behind at medical school. He was not happy. We sublet our apartments, and we were in our headquarters, a Starbucks in West LA, within a week. From there, we met our game-changing partners, and we were finally in the right place at the right time.
It took our unified ability to accept our failure, a resolve to fix and learn from it, and ultimately a belief in ourselves and what we were doing. Back to our friend Winston Churchill, success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. Sometimes you need a little help to find that courage. Before one of my venture capital meetings, I was in San Francisco at a coffee shop preparing. Madeline called me to ask how I was because this was not my first meeting and it was getting harder and harder to keep the stamina going. I told her, how do you think I'm doing? Not good. I didn't go to business school. Only 2.7% of female CEO startups get funding. The odds are against us. I shouldn't do this. Her response was, so what? Just go for it. What's the worst that can happen? It'll be another failure to learn from.
So she summoned the confidence and courage that I helped her find. And she went into that meeting with a power and fire that could only be created by accepting and embracing the possibility of more failure. By just going for it, we came out with our first $2 million in funding from a top VC firm. That was a good day. It was a good day. Since that first raise, we have continued to grow our business from a small founding team to a powerful team of 30. We have continued to raise more funding, and through our success, we have continued to experience failure time and time again. Our one constant, aside from always having each other, when we fail fast, we fix fast, and we learn fast. When you look at failure that way, when you embrace it, the times you fail are not definitive. They become part of the journey, the bumps in the road that make you bigger, better, and tougher.
We're not standing up here today telling you that the courage to fail is all it takes. In the end, it takes hard work, it takes dedication, and it takes a will to just keep pushing through, and maybe some sessions crying on the floor. Yes. Elon Musk says that if you're not failing, you're not innovating enough. This is true in business, and it's also true in life. Failure is inevitable. What you do with it, now that's up to you.